So today I'm going to talk about the future of the AI bots, chat and voice. I'm Pavan Madduru. I'm coming from the um, industry of the AI, wherein I have implemented chat and the voice bots for the industries, both in telecom, insurance. So I would like to actually explain you on the basis of what is the current implementation of chat and chatbot and voice bot in the current scenario, and then we'll be also seeing like what could be the future of it. So this is a simplistic way for both professionals who are into the business and also the developers who are getting into the AI or the chatbot or the voice bot development. So let me just start off presenting the screen, or we'll give a minute more for the attendees. I'll share the screen. So let me introduce in just few minutes about what are we going to cover in today's session. It's more about the current state of the chatbot, voice bots, wherein everybody would have used it either for the customer care or the support executives, or so when we try to buy something, it's not happening. We try to chat with a customer care executive, and today's chatbots, the way they are responding and what is the architecture and the code behind it, what exactly happens when we request and then when we are getting a response from a bot which actually represents a human. And eventually we'll also try to understand the future state of bots, which is actually just emerging still. Like for example, the chatbot, chat gpt, which is just introduced in November, on November 30th, where what is that algorithm that it's using, how is it's been done, etc. So, and how are we going to go in future with the chatbots? I have taken some sample snippets from the code where we can see and understand. It's pretty simple and it's very easy to implement these days, unlike a decade back where the coding was complex for us. So at the same time, I'll give you the importance and then the way we can use it for multiple scenarios, use cases, and the business scenarios, etc. And my credentials as AI bot expert is I do come from the background of digital technology and artificial intelligence, where I have been working as a solution architect, and currently I have founded a company called Silencespeaks, which primarily converts the voice to sign language to voice using artificial intelligence. Sign language is used globally by all the deaf people or deaf and mute people, or the differently able people, for their communication among themselves. So that's the way they communicate. And I'm working along with the research of the university collaboration, etc., and then trying to introduce this product into the market very soon. And that again is primarily again integrating with the voice and chatbot. I come from the sign perspective, where I try to integrate with the voice and chatbot, which I'm used to earlier. So I'm based out of the UK. That's why you see I'm at home, and then the background is slightly different. So coming to the current state of chatbots, voice bots. First thing, what we have to understand when we are saying about this is there are two types of chatbots. One is a rule based, another is retrieval based. Rule based is was it just a configuration, or saying that when I say hi there, the immediate response by the chatbot to the user, you configure that. When whenever you have a problem understanding as a chatbot, as a user, when you give a request and the chatbot has a understanding gap, or it doesn't understand what you're saying, it just responds, I'm sorry, I don't understand what you're saying. So these style of simple rule based chatbot was implemented in by many enterprises, and still many enterprises are running on this. They have configured all the rules saying like, okay, if I am asked as a chatbot this particular text, I need to respond with this. That's it. So that is one aspect of it. So input will be us as a user giving input for the chatbot. The response will be a rule based chatbot which is giving as a user input for us. So the bot will be responding, which will be actually displayed for us on the screen. That's the code which you find in the left side of the screen. Coming to the retrieval based chatbot, we have some sort of vectorization here, or some sort of loading data and computing the matrix which is vectorized, or retrieving the data is again based on the matrix. When you say matrix, it's completely a three-dimensional view where you have rules, not just two-dimensional. So when the user input and the respond is given, what happens when it's true, what happens when it's false, it's completely 3D included with the scoring part of it also. So if I give you the details of rule based chatbot as a functional view, chatbot takes a user input as a parameter, returns response. Function checks the user input for certain keywords or phrases using the if statement and in operator. If you observe the in the last, whenever you had a chat with any agent, or you were trying to use the chatbot, you would have seen a response saying that I don't understand, or I don't know this word. So that keyword is not present there with it. So similarly, like hi, hello means the response is hi there. How are you? I'm doing well, thank you. I'm sorry, I don't understand. Thus, this loop will continue indefinitely depending on the condition that is available. Now, retrieval based chatbot, how was this developed and how is it utilized? We import the packages of Panda, and then we use the scikit-learn, which is a popular machine learning library, and vectorization for the feature extraction text module. What happens is we have used machine learning, and then all these data sets are loaded from the CSV by name data.csv, for example, and again read as a CSV file by the pandas. So there will be text, there will be response, there will be a machine learning model which creates the instance for the context and fits into the text column. So the vectorization or the algorithm which is defined for this matrix is term frequency inverse document frequency. So term frequency investment document frequency is what which represents the frequency, wherein the user input as a string, which is also integrated with the matrix. So this is how the retrieval based bot is working. Able to see, or no, everybody is able to uh, understand. I think I'll have to check once, like if all is well. Hello, I'm just checking if everybody is able to hear. You can just type in the chat. uh, I'm able to hear. Okay, thanks. So coming back to my screen, let me share my screen again. So what is these are the two types of chatbots which we have interacted, communicated, and all of that. Now, those are just rule based or retrieval based, which is using matrix, etc. Now, what is that? That is future of the chatbots and voice bots. That's completely AI specific. For example, you would have all heard or seen or worked with ChatGPT. So the way we are working currently with the industries, we are trying to integrate the ChatGPT into the existing rule-based chatbots and voice bots. For example, let me come back to this future part of it. I just forgot to mention about the voice bots, how it is happening after this. So once this string is defined as an output, we have a standard speech to text and text to speech algorithms which are available in the machine learning library of all the cloud components like Google, GCP, or AWS, or the Azure. So we use that in order to convert this to be played to the user. At the same time, let's say that the retrieval based chatbot or rule based chatbot doesn't work. There is a functionality that we are routing it to the call center agent for the communication. So many of you would have observed, like if you are not able to select 1 2 3 5 to 9 on the IVR, what it does is it gives you an option, okay, speak to the agent, press 9 finally. So we do press 9, and then the call is diverted to the agent by the session manager, which is a component. So in this way, the chatbot in the backend is going to be the same for the voice bot. All the APIs, all the services, microservices, all the current functionality of the chatbot with respect to the integrations or entities or the databases like third party, internal, whatever is required for the enterprise to support the chatbot is being utilized by the voice bot also. The only difference is we will be adding up the speech to text and text to speech algorithm to it to convert it into voice or text, or voice and text, vice versa. Now, there is a additional component which I'll be taking up for the future AI bots, which I can explain you once we start this. So when we go for this future of the chatbots and voice bots, we can discuss about the AI specific chatbots and voice bots. What are the benefits of it? Taking some examples like sales and support, how is it being handled, or how would it be in the future being handled? And there are some open source tools actually which are available, which you can explore when you have some time later. And what are the successful implementations using open source tools? So what is the future is towards the generative language model chatbot using deep learning techniques to generate responses to user queries based on learned patterns from a large corpus of text data. This is nothing but, the best example for this is ChatGPT. So what is the advantage of that now? How is it able to give that, or how are we able to use that for our existing chatbot, voicebot? What we do is there are two methods for it. One is a trained model algorithm, or pre-trained model algorithm, or the trained model algorithm, which will be trained by us with our algorithm. So I will come back to the other statements. First, you can see the code here. Generate generative language model chatbot. We use the TensorFlow here, and we define the shapes, we define the encoder model, we define the decoder model, we define the final model. So what have we done here? We have actually used the TensorFlow, defined the layers using the keras, which is again a part of the TensorFlow. TensorFlow is an algorithm in deep learning, and then this imports an input. LSTM is the, it's again a modeling technique which is again using the library which is available in the TensorFlow TF. We use dense because the large amount of data, and then we work on our model. Now what is that we do as part of generative language model for the future. For example, I worked in a very large enterprise called Vodafone earlier. I was trying to integrate the chat and voice towards the new generation model. I would take up the existing algorithm and try to incorporate this algorithm while routing my chat queries to the chat GPT. So the response which is coming is more interactive, more humanized, uh, more beneficial for the users, wherein instead of waiting for the response just like that, we would be having the continuous communication with the user in order to have his so that he's completely engaged with us. The advantage for the user is he'll be able to ask anything, any other queries which he wants to solve, etc. So the next one is a hybrid chatbot. Hybrid chatbot is rule based and generative based. So what will happen? I think. Hello. Somebody has to go on mute, I think. Okay. Your voice is very feeble, Rodi. You were asking something.
School districts across the country are discovering how to empower teachers.
Hello, Rodi. You're saying something to us, or is it?
No, sorry, I'm multitasking.
Oh, sorry. Please go on mute so that I will continue my screen sharing. Okay. So, sorry, guys. Coming back to our future of chatbots and voice bots, a hybrid chatbot includes NLU component, which is natural language unit again, and it uses the queries and extracts the relevant information along with the dialogue manager, and also integrates with the rule based towards generative models. This is what we were discussing earlier. So this is a step ahead of the chat GPT, where you integrate your algorithm of the rules to be added to the generative models. Next is the sequence to sequence chatbot using an encoder decoder model. This again uses standard LSTM or GRU based networks. And then this architecture again includes the encoder, which processes the input query, and decoder, which generates the response. And this encoder and decoder can be implemented again using the LSTM and GRU based network. So this is nothing but a standard generative model, but then it's more like uh, difference between the synchronous and asynchronous. We do have a question answer. Every question has a answer which has been generated by the AI model itself. So the next one is the knowledge graph chatbot, which actually parses the user queries and extract information and a dialogue manager with appropriate response based on the information on the knowledge graph. I have a code snippet of this over here. How does it how does it take the load the knowledge graph from the file, and how do you define a function to parse user queries to extract the relevant information? What is the NLU component? What is the intent and the entity? So what would happen is there are two steps in this. First is identification of the intent of the customer or the user, or anybody who is currently trying to put a request. At the same time, if you see Once the intent is identified, let's say for example I'm calling for to check that my telephone bill, what is my last telephone bill, which means the intent of the user is identified as bill check. So this particular request is going again towards the internal web services or the internal APIs and the services in the microservices, etc. The sequence will be followed with respect to this request saying that this final bill has to be known to us. So that bill is the keyword by which the intent is identified, and the communication starts. Once the communication starts on the chat, the moment where chat is not able to respond, it would say go back to agent. So this is what you can see here, an intent and entity actually. So the generative response, the more number of steps the queries are being answered by the bot, is what matters for the business actually. So the number of call center agents or the users who are trying to resolve basic queries, they would be focusing more towards the analytics and the resolving some bigger problems than responding as a user for the basic queries. Currently we have reached level 6 actually, where we have most of the rules being configured, but going towards AI in the future, we will start filling the gaps between our communication steps actually using the AI bots. So that's the basic understanding of the knowledge based graph actually. It's also used for marketing, advertising. Let's say that uh, on the on the chat somebody can wait for a few seconds in addition to what they're doing, or they can do a multitask or any other activity in parallel, just keeping that window open. But when you are on the call, you don't do that. Usually we don't have that much patience. So what do? We create, as per the intent, appropriate content for that user to be continued using our AI models in the voice bot. Similarly, on the chat, if you want to have a longer or understanding of the products in detail, let's say we integrate with chat GPT using the generative language model which is there already, we would be able to use that particular complete content of that, and then our algorithm will tweak it and then help the users understand the further queries, or the understand the peripheral of the queries, etc., where it will be beneficial. Currently, if you see the large enterprises, we have started working on the generative language model chatbot. We are currently testing both. One is a model chatbot which is directly using ChatGPT, for example, and then we are generating a trained algorithm which will be along with the rules, or the ones which we have checked, like retrieval based chatbot, etc., trying to integrate this particular generative language model which is called again hybrid chatbot. So this is the overall summary and understanding of the future state of the chatbots. Coming back to our use cases finally, the use cases are more focused towards these days to understand the pain problems which are for the users in the chat and the voice. In order to understand those use cases, depending on the context or the intent, as we said, we need to be focusing on that. Either, for example, filling the gaps. Like, for example, a traveler a person is on roaming and is calling customer care. So, or is on the chat with the customer care, he should be updated with travel tips to the place he is in currently. So anything which is uh, interesting, important, or useful for the users, if we are able to provide the content using our bots, it's definitely beneficial. At the same time, if you go towards an extent of healthcare use cases where they're trying to resolve the mental health issues, trying to resolve the anger management issues, trying to resolve the issues which are more towards the advisory health, in order to provide them the filling the gaps when they are trying to resolve their operational problems or any problems. For example, I call the customer support saying like, why is it that I'm charged more pounds than what I'm supposed to pay? So such sort of queries also can be answered. And then the way we look at it is like, current developers, current Python or Java or whatever we use it for the development. At the same time, currently we are into some sort of AI. We might not be using, or we might not be a data scientist, or somebody who is into algorithms or understanding statistics. But then these simple code snippets which I was trying to show are can be directly used. For example, you go to the chat gpt or any other product, like stack overflow, you would actually find the simplest code, or github you would find the simplest code. You just can implement by yourself directly. This is what this code was generated by me in a very short time. So similarly, like, anybody wants to build something for their business, they can do it, or they can integrate with the frameworks, existing frameworks. There are open sources available where you can directly use those, and then use those chatbot frameworks and try to uh, push across your content for the chat and voice bots, etc. So that is what I wanted to convey to all our people. Like, so that's it from me. So, what are your questions or queries or anything you would like to check with me? You can ask me. Feel free to shoot. Hello. Yeah, there are open source projects. Actually, what is happening is voice bots. It's not open source projects for us. It's more towards the chat bots. But then, yes, voice bots are uh, converted using text to speech, speech to text. Let me just type it across on this from my. Let me check also in parallel if I have. I'm typing it across here. You can check these Mycroft snips. Well, I haven't used this voice bots open source, but then I'm just giving you. Surprisingly, Jasper is also there. It's using Google Speech Recognition API. I have used one earlier which is called Rasa. I think that's definitely useful. Rasa is useful, definitely, I think. But Snips and Mycroft I haven't used. Maybe you can check once with them. And then Jasper is also having it, but then it's using Google Speech to Text and Text to Speech, which is a standard API, integrating it to the existing chatbot framework which is providing. Rasa is a good framework for your information. Like, you could directly use that framework for both chat and voice. It's what they have done is they have just taken the chatbot framework and then integrated it with the standard API of text to speech, speech to text. Yeah, I can share the slide deck. So, any further questions to anybody? I think I can see one Q&A. Once again, join late, but will we be able to find the recording, or will it be emailed to us? I think I should be asking them to share across in the email. I'll be doing that. Yeah, I'll check and update on this. Like, I think this is recorded at the same time, so that's not a problem. We can share the recording. That will be uploaded in the YouTube. So I think it's another question. So you're saying about the Node.js? Oh, then it's Rasa is the one. If it's Node.js, actually, Rasa is built on the Node.js only. We also have other ones. Let me see. You might be aware of Dialogflow or Microsoft, which are standard anyways. Dialogflow and Microsoft bot framework. All of these are into Node.js mostly. I think I can see something in Q&A. PHP related. I know only one which is PHP one, I think. There is something like Botman, if I remember. I'm just checking. PHP, I've heard of only Botman. I think you'll have to Google further. I recollect only this, others I haven't checked. Any other one? Okay, Java API. Let me just. Again, Java is again like Watson, Rasa, all of this, right? If you see, it's again the same. Java API ones. Again, Rasa and what was the earlier one? Like even the Microsoft and the other one is IBM Watson. Yeah, Watson is it's again a chatbot development platform, which again uses the Java API actually. Any further questions to anybody? Yeah, there are limitations actually. There are limitations like with respect to the technology part of it, if you see, we do have some challenges with respect to the responses in the algorithm accuracy. So let's say the largest amount of data, it's very good, like something like generative model, it can be doing good because it can take 1,000 words or large text of data and do contextual analysis. At the same time, we need the limitation we have is the computation power. Again, the computation power is extensively required for that. So when we go to the smaller chunks of data, the accuracy of the model is reduced because it's not able to take the complete context. Like for example, recurrent neural networks, when we were doing 4 5 years back, 2016 or 17, we had a challenge of unable to get the request response using AI chatbot in a millisecond time. That was due due to the problem that it was taking word by word. So there are limitations, you can say, both in algorithm accuracy level and the computation level. But then yes, whenever we have this, we have an option of routing it to the call center agent or somebody who is able to assist at the next level. Or they can say that like a call center agency is open only from 8 to 5 during Monday to Friday, and then you can get back to them. So yes, that's where we have limitations. And otherwise, if we don't have limitations and chatbots are successful, then we can have our all the problems solved with the support, or all the help required for the sales can be done all through 24 cross 7. It's amazing actually. That's the target for us in next 3 years actually, for any enterprise we are working, or we are into our own enterprise also. So, any other questions? What are the limitations of AI chatbots? Yeah, that's the one I was saying, Rudel. The algorithm which we have currently, we have generative AI model today, because Microsoft could provide the Azure computation power. They are able to give us the Chat GPT. Let's say any other enterprise who is not able to afford the computation power, they can never serve their customers actually. So we have to rely on them for that. So computation power is one problem, limitation. So if we have less data, then accuracy is getting model getting lower, and the communication between the user and the AI chatbot is very less, and it's routed to the call center agent. And the more interaction is happening only when we have complete set of data. It's digital actually. If you see ChatGPT 3 version, before that 2.5 and 2, the problem was they had 5 TB, 10 TB data, or 20 TB data, but it was not working. But 45 TB data, everything is working fine, because it it's digital rather than incremental actually for this. That's one limitation we have. So everybody can't have that much data, everybody can't store that much data, everybody can't use that much data for the computation, everybody cannot run algorithm on that new data again and test the data, validate the data. So it's not easy for this to make it 24 cross 7, I can say. Is there any way or two of identifying a damage of a vehicle through a bot by sharing the photos for the um, for the insurance claims perspective? I didn't understand this completely. I have published a paper on IoT, AI, and augmented virtual reality, Chandana. Yeah, I an accident of a vehicle part. What happens is we have sensors which have cameras which capture the pictures. So I think what you if you what you're making sick makes my understanding right. If I'm right, just correct me if I'm have to be corrected also. We take the picture in the real time during the accident and update it for a emergency. Actually, the same pictures, I don't know if they can be used elsewhere, but it is possible through the IoT sensors along with the screen captures or the image captures. We can use some computer vision libraries and try that, but I'm not sure like if it's feasible, viable and all until I do that. Maybe there are computer vision algorithms which can be tried out, I can say, at least. Does that answer you, Chandana? Because I'm not done that, so I'm not sure 100%. So any other questions for anybody, or I think we have left with 3 minutes. So if there are no other further questions, I think we can get off the call, and then maybe I can share the deck with users who can communicate with you. Thank you then. Thank you all for your time. Thank you. Bye.